Right, hello YouTubers, Dad's back again. Now some of you remember this. This is the original hook length tyer I made a few years back. Matchman hook tyer, snap hook, swivel and a clip with a piece of bar there just to keep it at distance. Made this one so I could actually do my method links, hook links and stuff like that, which, as we know, we don't need too long. If fiddling around with little tiny hook lengths it's fiddly. So I made this one, and when I made this one I made it so I could, what I do, tie a loop on here onto the line, hook it over this, it's a curtain eye on a piece of dowel, pop it into the corresponding hole to how long the length of hook length I want it to be, and I would then tie it as normally on the Matchman hook tyer, keeping it tight. But it's become a bit old and worn, and there's a bit too much play there. And instead of it being marked out as 3.5 inches, it could be 3.25 inches or whatever. It's not accurate enough for me. And I bought myself one of these, which is it's a hook length wallet. It's a magnetic catch one, and there isn't a lot of space for the tolerances are quite high. This is a distance between where you put your hook there and your, the poles for fastening your loops on is it's not adjustable. So that is a 3-inch hook length. That is a 4-inch hook length. If I wanted to put a 3.5, I haven't got a hook peg there for it to go onto. So if I'm going to use this rig wallet, I'm going to have to make it right. So what I did, off comes the hook tyer. That's it. It's just a curtain eye screwed into the back. It's a sea fishing snap hook on there, and with a swivel and an R-pin. So that's gone. And in its place I built this. Voila! Now this, if I take the line away, I'll give you an idea what it is. In fact, I'll get rid of them swivels. I don't need them on there. They're just surplus. Right, it's a sheet of plywood. I'll give you some dimensions on it. Anybody who's looking, 18 inches long, and it's just under 10 inches wide. I mean, this was just a scrap piece of plywood, which 1/2 inch thick plywood, and what I've done with some offcuts, I made a tray to go all the way around, and I've also cut another piece to fit in and screwed it down on this side here. So basically that's it. What this does here, I've put a new piece of bracket on. This is only a small corner bracket. You can buy them from your local hardware shop. Crib the little the swivel just a little bit so it goes through the hole, and the R-pin just holds it in place. Just put it there. The R-pin holds it in place, so that is now, there's no flex on that really. You can pull it, but for tying hooks we're not going to bend that. And at the other end, what I've got is rivets, just plain old standard rivets, and I've drilled corresponding holes. So I've got, the first hole would make a 4-inch. I found a 3, if I was to put the 3-inch one, which is at that mark there, it's very close. The loop on the length of line would be very close to the hook, and by the time it's pulled its way through there to make the 3-inch, it makes it too tricky. So I've started at 4-inch. That's my 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, 8-inch. If I want it any longer, I can start at either side of these pegs here. So I can put one there, I put my loop on that one, round that one, take them two out, and that gives me a 9-inch. So because it's 8 plus 1. And same again, if I want to go a little bit further, I would put that one in there. I'll put my loop on my line on that one, around there and back to there, and tie a hook, give me 10-inch, and so on. You carry on, you can carry on both sides. So that's basically what it is. But for this one, for those that worried about the hook, the loop not going onto the being a bit smaller, if you want to make the small loops, I know you can make the very tiny loops with the specialist loop tyres. I did have a go at one myself and I found it wouldn't go on this, so I've actually got there, that is a spent rivet, and when it goes into the machine it leaves little grooves because the machine grips it and pulls it through and compresses it and then snaps it off. So I've cleaned up that end, and that will actually go, I can actually use that as well, and it'll take the accommodate for the very tiny little hooks, loops and that. So for this one we're going to make, we'll put it in the 4-inch, we'll put that one in the 4-inch, and we'll make a 4-inch hook length. I've also, move this across, I've drilled a hole there. The reason I've drilled a hole there is this is my spooler line. I can put my spooler line in here, on there, and I know it's not going to, it's going to sit there. It's just going to sit there. It's not going to rattle around inside here. The tray, I can put anything in it. I've got some bits and bats some here to, I said, tiny loops. You've got the various loop tyres. That one is a wonderful little tool that for tying very, very tight loops, small loops. That one and that one are what I use. They work, they do the job. You get a slightly bigger loop on that than you do on that, obviously, because this one's smaller. So what we'll do, we'll tie a loop first. This is my method of tying a loop. Get the line, put it over my index finger. So I've got the 2 lengths of line here, and it's over my index finger, and put the line through the crook. Put the crook over the line, so it's there. Not putting it anywhere else, just put it over the line, and just twiddle that. That's 1, 2, 3, and then you pass the line over. The loop line goes through that little gap, and then you would pull both ends nice and steadily. You've got the wet this, don't forget it's nylon. If you tighten it up without wetting it, you will get some friction, and then just flick the whole loop off the hook tyre, the loop tyre, and that creates your loop, because your loop is actually still bound within this little, well, it's like a beak, so it's still bound in there. But as you can see, there's your loop. I'll take that off of there, and there is your little loop. Just trying to get best vision so you can see it on there. So there's your loop. I'll just trim the tab off. Right. So there's our loop. So we'll put that over the pin, the rivet that corresponds with the 4-inch. So that's over there. It's on there nice and tight. Right, we need a hook. Now for the camera, I think we'll have to try something a bit, something we can see. So we'll go for a slightly visible hook. These are these are great little idea, great little gizmo. These, I've had this one for a long time. It keeps all your hooks there. They're here. They're not going to fall out. They're swivel, so they're not magnetic. I'm just making a fool of myself there nearly. But yeah, we'll pick a hook out. The little tool has got a magnet on the end as well, so you can just bring the out, and there's your hook on the end of the magnet. We'll pop that to one side, take the little tool off, and then we'll put the hook like we would normally in the matchman hook tyre and tighten it into place. So there's the hook in the matchman hook tyre. Now let's just zoom in just a touch if we can. There we are. There we go. Right then, Hopefully I can do this in one go, hopefully. Right then, so we've got our hook length. We don't need all that line, so I'll just trim that back. So we've got our hook length, our loop's already been formed, it's on our thing, and we'll set the matchman hook tyer up as you would normally, but you keep the hook length, the line tight to the hook. So this is now, I'm just supporting that so the knot loop don't come undone. This is now tight. This is now tight to here. It's tight. So I'll just carry on turning. I'll just turn it until get enough on there, and then back through the hoop. If you haven't used one of these, there's plenty of YouTube videos. And very gently, just pulling the loop back through, and then we can just ease that out there. And there's your loop, there's your hook length cut tied. That's it. Give it a little wet, just pull it through, and there we go. I shall put that peg back in there. It's still attached, it's not come off. So that's all nice and tidy. And just pull that up to there, and we'll just trim that little tab off there. You have to excuse the ginormous scissors, but and there we are. One hook length, and I'll lay that down there. You can see it lays pretty straight, and somewhere around here here we are, I've got a roll. That's a bit mucky, that one. To get one that looks a bit tidier. Here we go. So there is let me zoom in on that, and we'll just there we go. As you can see, too far, there we go. We've got a 4-inch hook length. There's the loop, there's the hook. As you can see, the ruler doesn't tell any porkies. There's your 4-inch hook length, and that's just as easy it is to do it. It is as easy as that. And of course, the proof of the pudding is when we come to put the hook length, and get hold of it, there we go, into the hook length wallet. We'll put it there. So we'll put that in there, and there's my tab for my 4-inch, and it goes on, and there we are, one hook length put into the wallet, and they'll stay in there. And that is a 4-inch hook length, because I've just popped it on straight onto there, and that's the 4-inch hook length tab there. So it tells you actually there's some little, I can make it out on the video, but there's on the camera, but there is some in the bottom down there. There are some little tabs, that's markings that say what the length they are. So right, that's it. And you can make these hook lengths as long as you like. Let me say 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, 8-inch. I could make them, I know the distance between this point here and this point here is 14 inches. So I could make this, I could make a 22-inch length hook length at exactly 22 inches long. So yeah, but whether you'd want to or not, I don't know. But that's just for a measurement's sake. But yeah, every time, each one is exactly the same length, as long as you keep this tight to your line when you're tying your hook. You make sure everyone's right. And I say, if you're using very, very fine loops with these ones, there are ways of doing it on the YouTube. Show you how to do it. It's an overhand knot, and you can pull. That one pulls a certain set. That one pulls a large loop. That one pulls a small loop. The small loop is small. I did actually try it. It's very fiddly with these chunky fingers, but I did try. But that will go over this spent rivet, so I can pop that in there, and I can put the small loops on there, and I can do the same job. But anyway, that's the new hook length wallet, hook length tyer. It keeps everything tidy, and like I say, I dropped some swivels out of my magnetic hook box, but they're in there. I know where they are, they're safe. it doesn't take a lot of room. I suppose if I wanted to, I could have put this on a hinge and so it fold up, so it all folds away inside, so it's even small and compact. But this just goes on my shelf out of the way, and it's all nice and tidy. So that's the new hook length tyer. Thank you very much.